Bowser. Bowser, the big fire-breathing turtle dragon, I think, with a 9800 IQ, has been terrorizing the Mushroom Kingdom since 1985, and honestly, he is pretty good at it, if you ignore the whole constantly losing to a short plumber in overalls thing. Despite being the undisputed ruler of the Koopa Troop, having an army of Goombas, Koopa Troopas, and all sorts of wacky minions, Bowser somehow always ends up face down in lava, falling from the sky, or even being sucked into a black hole. But let's give credit where it's due. This guy is persistent and has a pretty solid resume when it comes to villainy. First and foremost, Bowser has kidnapped Princess Peach more times than we can count. His reasoning? Sometimes he wants to force Peach into marriage, sometimes he just wants to mess with Mario, and other times, it's just Tuesday. Bowser isn't just about the princess stealing life though. He's pulled off some truly wild stunts, like taking over entire galaxies in Super Mario Galaxy, fusing with a magic crown to become the Nightmare Fuel Bowsette. Wait, never mind, that was the internet. And even having a knack for turning absolute massive, from Giga Bowser in Smash Bros to Fury Bowser in Bowser's Fury. He clearly has a thing for going full kaiju when the situation calls for it. Oh, and let's not forget that he once built an entire theme park just to mess with Mario. But is Bowser truly evil? Or is he just a misunderstood single dad who wants to impress his son Bowser Jr.? Because let's be honest, for all the world-destroying shenanigans, Bowser seems to have a soft spot, especially when it comes to Junior. The guy even takes him go-karting, plays soccer with him, and lets him believe that Peach is his mom. Okay, that one is a little questionable, but still. Compared to villains like Ganondorf or Sephiroth, who are all about genocide and destruction, Bowser's antics seem almost adorable. He's more of a Saturday morning cartoon villain. Always scheming, always failing, but never quite crossing the line into pure evil. He's got power, an army, and a questionable grasp of consent, but he's also a doting dad and an occasional party goer. Sure, he will try to conquer the world, but then he will also show up for a friendly game of tennis with his arch nemesis. Sephiroth. Sephiroth, the one-winged angel of edge and overkill, isn't just a villain, he's the villain. Tall, long silver hair that he definitely spends hours in maintenance, and rocking a trench coat like he just walked out of a golf fashion show. This dude is the epitome of extra. He doesn't just want power, he wants to become a god, destroy the planet, and probably look cool while doing it. Let's talk about feats. He's a former soldier, first class, wields the absurdly long Masamune blade like it's a toothpick. And oh yeah, he casually wiped out an entire village, drove Cloud insane, and then summoned a giant meteor to obliterate the planet. Subtlety? Never heard of it. Sephiroth's evil isn't just about destruction, it's personal. He doesn't just kill Aerith, he slowly descends from the sky and impales her in the most dramatic way possible. He haunts Cloud's mind like a toxic ex, popping up just to gaslight him into an existential crisis. And let's not forget Supernova, an attack so ridiculous it shows entire planets exploding, and somehow your party just takes damage instead of being vaporized. Unlike Bowser, who's more of a goofy villain, Sephiroth is just nightmare fuel. He's a fallen hero turned cosmic horror, powered by mommy issues and a god complex. That said, he's so over the top that it's hard to not love him. The guy has an entire orchestral theme just for walking into a room, and if that's not peak drama, I don't know what it is. Sephiroth is evil, yes, but he's also theatrical. He doesn't just commit crimes, he monologues about them. He's a walking anime final boss with the biggest sword, the biggest ego, and the biggest plans. Love him or hate him, you can't deny, Sephiroth slaps. Literally.
I am the chosen one. I have been chosen to rule this planet.
Albert Wesker. Albert Wesker, the sunglasses-wearing supervillain who just won't die, is corporate evil. Imagine if your boss was also a genetically enhanced superhuman with Matrix-style reflexes and a never-ending supply of sunglasses. That's Wesker. He started as a shady scientist working for Umbrella, but quickly leveled up to full-blown supervillain, injecting himself with viruses until he basically became a walking cheat code. Wesker's feats? Oh, just the casual things like betraying literally everyone, surviving multiple near-death experiences, and pulling off enemy speed dodges like he's in the Matrix. He manipulated entire organizations, unleashed countless bioweapons, and let's not forget his final plan in Resident Evil 5, infecting the entire world just so he could rule over the leftovers. Wesker isn't just a villain, he's smug about it. He doesn't just beat you, His style dodges every bullet first. He doesn't just betray people, he does it while adjusting his sunglasses in slow motion. His evil isn't fueled by revenge or tragedy, he's just obsessed with becoming the ultimate life form. Shadow the Hedgehog would be proud. But unlike Sephiroth's theatrical destruction or Bowser's cartoonish villainy, Wesker is cold, calculated, and always one step ahead. Until Chris Redfield punched a boulder in his face, that is. Seriously, the guy had super speed and world-ending plans, and he lost to sheer brute force and the power of friendship. Albert Wesker is the definition of a stylish villain. He's evil, he's powerful, and he refuses to take off his glasses, day or night, indoors or outdoors. He's Resident Evil's ultimate bad guy, right up until his plans get wrecked by a well-placed rocket launcher. Rest in peace, Wesker. You were too cool and too evil for this world.
Ouroboros will be released into the atmosphere, ensuring complete global saturation.
GLaDOS, the queen of sarcasm, science, and psychological torment. If villains had a comedy club, GLaDOS would headline every night. Unlike your typical world-ending bad guys, she doesn't need brute force, just an army of turrets, deadly neurotoxin, and enough passive-aggressive insults to make your self-esteem crumble faster than a poorly placed portal. This AI isn't just evil, she's hilariously evil. GLaDOS started as a research AI for Aperture Science, but after a tiny incident involving mass murder via neurotoxin, she promoted herself to Supreme Queen of Testing. Her greatest feat? Turning science into psychological warfare. Instead of just eliminating test subjects, she breaks them down mentally first, then maybe kills them, or bakes them a cake. Spoiler alert, the cake is a lie. She's not just a villain, she's the toxic, manipulative type of girlfriend. She gives you impossible tasks, gaslights you into thinking you are worthless, and when you actually succeed, she belittles you for it. She casually mentions that nobody loves you, calls you fat, and then tries to drop you into a pit of fire, all while keeping the smoothest, most emotionless robotic voice ever. Oh, and let's not forget the time she put her own consciousness into a potato, yet she still managed to insult you the whole time. Unlike Bowser, who just wants a princess, or Sephiroth, who's on a god complex trip, GLaDOS is more of a sadistic life coach. Sure, she tries to kill you, but she also pushes you to be your best self, through death traps and mockery. Deep down, she might even respect you, but don't get it twisted. If she had the chance, she would still fill the facility with neurotoxin while humming classical music. GLaDOS is the villain you love to hate. She's ruthless, witty, and scientifically committed to making your life miserable, but she does it with such charm that you almost enjoy it. In the end, she might delete her evil ways, but let's be real, she will never stop throwing shade, and honestly, we wouldn't have it any other way.
Remember before when I was talking about smelly garbage standing around being useless? That was a metaphor. I was actually talking about you.
Ganondorf. If villains had a Hall of Fame, Ganondorf would have his own wing. This guy isn't just bad, he's legendary. For decades, he has been terrorizing Hyrule, stealing the Triforce, and getting repeatedly wrecked by a sword-wielding elf boy in a green tunic. Yet like a stubborn stay on the fabric of time, he just keeps coming back. Let's talk about what makes Ganondorf the top-tier bad guy he is. He's the only male Gerudo born once every 100 years, which basically means he was destined for greatness. He's got raw magical power, a mastery of dark arts, and enough political cunning to manipulate entire kingdoms before pulling out the sword and handling things himself. Oh, and let's not forget his real estate ventures. He doesn't just conquer lands, he transforms them into lava-filled, monster-infested nightmares. Hyrule Castle? Now it's Ganon's castle, complete with evil organ music. Your peaceful kingdom? Say hello to an eternal reign of darkness. Some villains steal money, some steal lives. Ganondorf steals destinies. He doesn't just take over Hyrule, he corrupts it. He cursed the Great Deku Tree, turned the Zora's domain into an icy wasteland, and transformed the once proud castle town into a ghostly ruin filled with screaming redeads. And let's not ignore his patience. While other villains get angsty after a few years, Ganon will wait centuries for his comeback. Whether sealed away into the sacred realm, turned into a giant pig demon, or getting tossed into the ocean, yeah, the Wind Waker did him dirty, he always finds a way back. Well, he's called the King of Evil, but let's be real, he's also kinda iconic. Unlike Sephiroth's melodramatic destruction or Bowser's goofy persistence, Ganondorf is the embodiment of calculated, unstoppable villainy. He's got the power, the ambition, and just enough arrogance to make every defeat feel like a temporary setback. Also, props to the man for committing to his aesthetic. Red hair? Check. Glowing yellow eyes? Check. Giant cape and armor fit for a final boss? Check. The guy knows how to look the part. He's power hungry, cunning, and refuses to stay dead. He's the reason Zelda games have a story, and no matter how many times Link sends him packing, we know he will be back.
Join me, Link, and I will make your face the greatest in Korodai, or else you will die.
Dr. Eggman. If there is one thing Dr. Eggman shares with Bowser, it's commitment. The man wakes up every day, builds an army of robots, comes up with another overly complicated world domination plan, and, without fail, loses to a blue hedgehog that can't even swim. But hey, persistence is key, right? Dr. Ivo Eggman Robotnik is a certified genius with an IQ of 300. He's built space stations, mind control devices, time-traveling contraptions, and even Eggman Land, a dystopian amusement park. Sheesh. What do cartoony villains have with owning a theme park? He's taking over entire planets, capture innocent animals to power his robots, and almost won countless times. Before Sonic shows up and reduces all his hard work to scrap metal in under 5 minutes. And yet, despite losing constantly, Eggman just shrugs, laughs, and tries again. If pettiness were an Olympic sport, this man would have gold medals across multiple timelines. Let's be real, Eggman isn't truly evil. He's more like one uncle who thinks he's a genius but keeps getting outsmarted by a teenager. Sure, he's conquered cities, built doomsday weapons, and pissed on the moon, but at the end of the day, the biggest crime is his terrible workplace safety. The guy built massive, elaborate bases only to leave giant red buttons labeled self-destruct. And let's not forget his greatest sin, naming everything after himself. Egg Carrier, Egg Dragoon, Eggman Empire. We get it, dude, you love eggs. Unlike Sephiroth's apocalyptic schemes or Ganondorf's god-tier villainy, Eggman is a classified buffoonish mastermind. He talks a big game, but when the dust settles, he's either running away in his little Eggmobile or begrudgingly teaming up with Sonic to stop somebody actually evil. Looking at you, Infinite. Dr. Eggman is less of a threat and more of an experience. He's self-proclaimed genius, a master of ridiculous robots, and possibly the most determined loser in gaming history. He might never truly win, but let's be honest, if he ever did, the world would be a much more excellent place.
You know what they say, the more the merrier.
Shao Kahn. If you thought your boss was bad, try working for Shao Kahn. This guy is the CEO of Conquest, the Sultan of Smackdowns, and the Emperor of absolutely no chill. He doesn't just defeat his enemies, he annihilates them, then laughs about it while sitting on a throne made of their failures. Shao Kahn has done more world conquering before breakfast than most villains do in a lifetime. He's merged entire realms, enslaved countless populations, and personally crushed the hopes and dreams of anyone who dared to challenge him. He's got strength that makes Mortal Kombat characters look like fragile action figures, and his hammer, that thing has ended more careers than internet drama. Oh, and let's not forget his biggest flex. He doesn't need fancy powers like magic or time manipulation, he's just that strong. He once soul-sucked an entire dimension just because he felt like it. Your favorite villains wish they had Shao Kahn's power level. Some villains monologue, some manipulate, but Shao Kahn, he taunts you while plummeting your face into the ground. His trash talk is legendary. He will call you weak, pathetic, and unworthy before he crushes your skull. If Mortal Kombat had a worst boss to work for award, Shao Kahn would win every year. He also never stays down. You can beat him, banish him, and even kill him, but he just keeps coming back like an overpowered boomerang of doom. No matter what, if there's a Mortal Kombat tournament, Shao Kahn is somehow involved, ruining everyone's day. Shao Kahn isn't playing games, well, except Mortal Kombat. He's a dictator, a conqueror, and a one-man apocalypse. Shao Kahn wins. And when he loses, he just breaks the rules and wins anyway. Shao Kahn is the villain of Mortal Kombat. He is powerful, ruthless, and has a laugh that could give anyone nightmares. He doesn't need a tragic backstory, he just is evil, and he's having a blast doing it. So next time you hear "Finish him!" just pray it's not followed by his hammer, because if it is, you're already done.
They masquerade as dragons, but are mere toothless worms. My venom spreads. It is the end of all things. Armageddon.
Dracula, the OG vampire, castle enthusiast, and king of respawns. When it comes to villains, Dracula isn't just a threat, he's a lifestyle. This guy has been terrorizing humanity for centuries, rocking the finest capes and making sure every Belmont gets their cardio in. He doesn't just exist, he declares war on humanity every 100 years just because he feels like it. Dracula isn't your average bite and run vampire. He's got god-tier magic, an army of nightmarish creatures, and a castle that moves through dimensions. This guy treats death like an inconvenience. Get rid of him and he just comes back a century later, angrier and even more dramatic. He's thrown fireballs, summoned hellspawn, and even turned into a giant floating monster just for the sake of extra flair. He's basically the final boss of existence and somehow managed to one-up himself every time. Dracula doesn't just hate humanity, he loves it with poetic elegance. While other villains just go straight to the action, Dracula opens every battle with a monologue about how humans are pathetic, weak, and not worth saving. Sounds like someone else. Then, when he inevitably gets wrecked, he gives another speech as he disintegrates. He's so extra that even death has to wait for him to finish talking. And let's not forget, he's a family man. By which I mean, he took Angry Dad to a whole new level when humanity wronged his wife, and he decided to end the world over it. Say what you will, but the man's committed. Dracula isn't just a monster, he's a force of nature. If it weren't for the Belmonts constantly showing up like medieval exterminators, Earth would be a permanent vampire rave. Dracula is the definitive vampire villain. He's classic, powerful, and really good at holding a grudge. He's been slayed 100 times, yet he always comes back, dramatically adjusting his cape, ready for round infinity. He doesn't just rule the night, he owns it.
That woman was the only reason on Earth for me to tolerate human life. I am Vlad Dracula Tepesh, and I have had enough!